I've been doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley on this side. On the other side of the table, it is the one, the only, the assistant general manager of your sports network. It is my brother, Quinn Pushkar. Quinsky, what's going on?
Oh, another day in paradise.
It is another day in paradise.
Love the rain.
You're not loving. We had a meeting this morning, and it rained the entire time. Luckily, we were indoors. Even our friend up here didn't leak. So
that's true.
We're on the fortunate side right now. So let's get to on today's day in sports history. Today, the 7th of March, 2022. But, Quinn, did you know that in 1857, we'll just leave it there. 1857, baseball decides to go from 9 innings constitutes an official game and not 9 runs. Think about that for a minute. If every baseball game you had to score 9 runs, first to 9 wins, you already hate baseball.
Yeah.
How miserable would you have been in 1856 before this rule came into effect?
Based on the way the Indians have played in the past, like, game would be over in like 3 innings. So that'd be okay.
Okay, I can see that. But if you're at a low-scoring affair, that game could last 30 innings.
Yeah.
You're not a fan.
No.
And baseball doing some
9 innings is still too long.
They're doing some witchcraft right now to the game. And you said it best. Let's work on just getting on the field as opposed to changing up the game. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. But like they're looking for bigger bases. That just got approved. For what? For what? And what is that going to do?
Less distance around the. I don't even know. Less distance around.
I don't understand. Just more opportunity to touch the bag. This is going to be like a mat ball. Do you ever play mat ball?
I did
in high school.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to end up.
Usually turned into us just throwing the ball at each other.
No shifting. I like the shifts. I like the shifts. Matter. I mean, it's all strategy.
Yeah.
And then there was something else I can't remember. You remember what it was?
1-0 basketball. That's all I can remember. Somebody beat somebody 1-0 today.
Oh, yeah. In basketball. That was high school.
Yeah. That's about all I know.
We got a lot to talk about on the show. Basketball, some of the teams falling off like fruit flies. We're going to talk about their seasons. We're also going to really start the conversation of players of the year, coaches of the year, defensive players of the year, 6-man, 6-woman, that stuff. Because I think it needs to be talked about before we get to the actual awards at the 26th of on the 26th of March, as we were doing the All-Star game. If you've been living under a rock, you will now know that on the 26th at South Range High School, we will be doing the YSN All-Star game. Make sure all proceeds benefit Golden String and Purple Cat and all that stuff. Jimmy Sutman's great 501c3s and nonprofits. So make sure you show up to that game. Tickets sold at the door. Doors open at 4 o'clock. The intros scheduled for 5 o'clock. And then hopefully we're getting underway 5:15 or 5:20 with the girls game, boys game to follow. That being said, Quinn, let's get to some of these finales for the teams that happened over the weekend. You weren't here on Friday, but I was able to call some of these games. And you know, it's tough because when you see these seasons end, you don't necessarily want them to. And the coaches, I mean, you are going to be one of the first to say that. But you look at the seasons that they had. and they were unbelievable seasons. They were really, really strong seasons for these teams. So the first one, we'll start where I ended, my season ended as a broadcaster, and that was Norton beating Salem 44-27. And there's a lot of people, I've received a lot of calls this weekend, even today, as people, what happened? I mean, you were at that game from a spectator standpoint. What did Norton do so well that really caused Salem fits?
Just spaced them out, I think. I mean, I haven't been able to talk to Coach Bailey or anything like that to get more of an inside opinion on it, but it seemed like they spaced them out and they just kind of made them play a faster pace than, I'm surprised I'm saying it, but what they were used to, I
Which
guess.
is unbelievable.
I mean, it just seemed like Norton did a good job of handling anything that Salem threw at them, and I got to say, like, Salem didn't make shots. They just didn't make shots. Shots wouldn't fall, and that caused a problem. I mean, I saw a lot of misses that normally Salem makes.
Yeah.
And, if those fall, I think we're talking about making a trip to Dayton right now.
I mean, some of those were halfway down and just got spit out.
Oh, yeah.
It was unbelievable I keep saying unbelievable. It was hard to believe from an announcer standpoint that some of those didn't go down. And Norton controlled the tempo from the first half of the game. Did you get that feel as well?
Yeah, absolutely. They did what they had to do. And, I mean, the second quarter was really what sunk them, in my opinion. I mean, it seemed like Salem matched Norton the first, third, and fourth the entire time, if not won those quarters. It was just the second quarter. Salem couldn't buy a bucket, and it seemed like Norton didn't miss whatever they threw up.
Tough too.
Yeah.
I mean, Norton, we saw that against West Branch, and Norton really, really relies on that trap game a lot. And the Lady Quakers just could not come through with when they were trapped. They could not find outlets to get them through. So to me, that was the biggest story of the game, and the turnovers that came from those traps were, I mean, you look at that's got to be the circle for the coaching staff, right? Turnovers. If you take away some of those turnovers, we're not talking about a 10, 15 point game. We're talking about Salem probably walks away as winners, but you know what they say, the team with the least amount of turnovers is the team that has the best advantage in the playoffs. So one thing that really impressed you this season about the Salem Quakers, Lady Quakers,
turnovers that they caused.
Defense?
To me, defensively, like they held teams to 30 or less almost every day. It seemed like their press and stuff like that. I mean, being able to talk to their coaches and stuff like that, I would get updates from Coach Bailey all the time about how many turnovers that they caused. Because I mean, it was amazing. It seemed like every day he was sending me something different about 30 turnovers or something ridiculous to that point where they're holding teams under 30 points. Like, you just don't do that. That's tough to do.
Perfect example in that semifinal game, they held Northwest to 26.
Yep, 100%.
And that's hard to do in a state semifinal game, or a regional semifinal game. For me, it was Salem, the Lady Quakers, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way because I think some will say it's a slight, but I mean this as a compliment. They don't necessarily have the best players in the conference, in the family of network. I mean, across the board.
They don't have the superstar.
They don't.
They have
the team.
Solid team. Very solid team.
And I think that a lot of times is more important than having that one superstar or two superstars. Anybody stepped up for Salem on any given night. You couldn't shut one person down and know you're going to walk away with a win. And that's the thing that I loved about, it is a monsoon out there right now. Be happy that I invited you to stay on this show. That's the thing that I really feel about this Salem team that Sarah Hamilton and her staff does very, very well is they focus on a team, their team meals every week. They make sure that everybody feels important. If you're part of the family, you're part of the family, and they're going to count on you. Being able to go kind of backstage with them in the locker room, ride the bus with them, the opportunities that I have, I loved it because I learned more about their team and how they function and why they won so many games. So kudos to the Salem Lady Quakers this year in a phenomenal season, historic season, one that hasn't happened in 18 years. I know they're going to share a lot of memories for the next 2 decades as they quote unquote grow old together, just like the team from 2004 did. So congratulations to the Lady Quakers. What other games here? St. Thomas Aquinas and Louisville. That game, St. Thomas Aquinas is the real deal.
Oh yeah.
St. A's is they're the real deal. And because I called Louisville to win that game on Friday, and I thought that they were going to be able to win it, not running away, but probably 5-7 points, something like that, because they were hitting. But the defense for St. Thomas Aquinas, I mean, you can tell why they're going to go to the regionals, and I still think they're going to do damage at the regional level. So Louisville's season comes to an end. A nice season for Louisville, and a chance to win districts for the first time in 20 years comes up short, but they still have a lot of talent coming back next year. If you're sitting in the seat, the catbird seat for Louisville, what do you like about what you saw this year, and how can you prepare for next?
Well, they're all coming back. They're just, and the lineup's huge. They're huge across the board. They got good size, and not only the size, but the talent that goes with it. They're a team to beat for sure next year. They're one of the best teams probably coming back in the district that I can think of in Division 4. I like what they do. I'm excited to see where they go.
I think the surprise from everybody on Saturday, a game that was supposed to happen Friday, happened Saturday. Cardinal Mooney over top Springfield local 38-31. Defense wins championships, and obviously back-to-back championships for Mooney. Now they denied Springfield. Talk to me about, you were there, right? What did you see that Mooney did so well that really overwhelmed Springfield?
They just withstood what Springfield did. They held their ground. They played physical basketball that Mooney's going to do. They didn't let Wary get hot. They didn't let Bo get hot. They basically just went out and played very solid team defense,
which is what they do.
Yeah, I feel like beating a dead horse with this. Like I'm explaining what Mooney does every night.
Yeah,
and that's what they did. They played Cardinal Mooney basketball, and they withstood the beginning part of that game where I believe it was Hergenrother picked up 3 fouls within 3 minutes of the first quarter, and he had to come out and didn't bat an eye. They kept going. They kept rolling. And they hit shots. They hit some threes that were needed in a game where scoring wasn't there. And Mooney came away with it.
All right. Moving on. Wait a minute. Before we go on to the next one, can we just express how underrated this Mooney team continues to be? Not that Springfield was overrated by any means, but a lot of people went into this game thinking Springfield was just going to come in and lay the smack down on offense. This time of year, Quinn, beating a dead horse, you already talked about it. Defense will stifle offense, correct? Why is that this time of year that defense always wins these games?
I don't know if that's the case, because I'm a big believer in that good offense will always beat good defense.
Really?
Yeah. And they just didn't hit shots. Springfield didn't hit shots. They had open shots. They didn't hit them.
Certainly helps.
And that does help. And I'm not taking anything away from Mooney. I mean, Mooney's moving on to the regional. Springfield's not. But, Springfield didn't hit shots. Mooney hit shots. You got to score to win games.
How about this one in overtime? Poland losing to Cheney 67-58. Poland left it all out on the floor. Hard-fought battle by both sides. But when you put yourself up against Cheney and you give Cheney extra opportunities like they did in overtime, Cheney's going to take advantage because they are just too athletic. And I say that because Poland is athletic. Cheney is too athletic. Can't let him hang around.
No. And I mean, that's the same thing with Mooney. You can't let Mooney hang around.
Yeah.
They're the same way. But yeah, Poland, I give credit to Poland. They did everything that they possibly could in that game. And, when you tell me Dito's going to have another game of 29 or above, I'm going to like your chances. But Cheney just finds a way to win. They just know how to win.
Well, you got DJ Waller scoring 20. Isaiah Williams scored 7 in the final period alone. And, you look, a 29-point effort from Ross Dito, which somehow, I see. I'm reading our thing. It says Diduf, but it's supposed to be Dido of Poland. Shooting 65% from inside the arc, going 11-19 from the field. I mean, Dido was on. You couldn't have asked any more from Ross at that moment. But you look at, DJ Waller with 20. McDowell has 13. Isaiah Williams has 13. Gonzalez has 11. How do you stop that? It's going to be tough.
It's a good question. And the next game for Cheney, I'm very excited to see where they're at now.
We wanted to see this 2 years ago.
Yeah. And I think they played earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
And I want to say that St. V's did win that game as well. Let me look that up.
But you can learn so much from that game.
Yeah, it was 74-53 early in the year. It was the 7th game of the year for Cheney. So, I mean, but at the same point, St. V's is a household name. You know them in Ohio. Yep. They're going to play good basketball. They're going to be well coached. And, I think Cheney has a good shot at it if they go and play their game. I really like what they do. It's going to be fast-paced, and I'm excited.
You're going to be there.
I will see.
Poland finishes. Dido, like you said, 29 points, 4 rebounds. Jack Fulton, 14 points. And Christian Colosimo, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal.
Good luck. I don't know how to answer phone calls on this. I don't know how to do it on the show.
Should we?
I never was able to when I was back here.
All right, let's give it a shot. Here we go.
ST data. Google My Business List.
Nope. The old Google My Business data listing. St. V's, can they be stopped?
I don't want to answer that question.
Why?
Because I don't think they will. I really don't. I think St. V's has a trip to Dayton this year, if I'm being honest.
And that's fair.
They're too good. I think they're too good.
They're always there.
They've got arguably one of the best players in the state. They've Sincere Harris. He's going to go to Illinois, I believe, next year. They have a very good coach in Drew Joyce, who's been there. It seems like Drew's been there every year. I think they're not going to waver. I think they're going to play their game, and I think they have a trip to Dayton in their future.
Nick says St. V just dropped 92 in the district final.
They did.
And Mike Bartos says it was actually tied at halftime. That was the Cheney Poland game?
I believe so. Something like that.
It was tied at
the
fourth quarter.
It went to overtime.
So, doesn't surprise me. I mean, Poland, and this is going to sound kind of rough, Poland drawing overtime against Cheney says more about what Poland did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Cheney, you kind of always felt like had that momentum. Yeah. At least when I was watching. Mm-hmm. I felt like Poland was trying to play catch up the entire time, and Cheney kind of controlled the tempo, the pace of the game. They could score at will pretty much. They were just missing shots. Mm-hmm. They were missing shot after shot. Cheney versus okay. Mike says it was Cheney versus St. V earlier in the year. They were tied at halftime.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
then that's a big second half where St. V's wins by 20. So
if that happens,
let me put it this way. I hope that I'm wrong when I say St. V's is going to the state semifinals. I hope I'm wrong, because that means either Cheney got him or hopefully Louisville gets him.
I think Cheney gets him.
I hope so. I really do.
Hardcore rooting for Cheney here.
Oh, big time. 100%. I to beat St. V's.
Sure.
So bad.
Can you imagine?
No.
The disrespect.
Like the way that, like the celebration in my mind of what would happen there. I mean, I know the way Cheney will play. They'll win. They won't care. Yeah. It'll be cool. We did what we're supposed to do. And that's the way you want to do it.
But if St. V, and this happened in the girls bracket, if St. V's is eliminated.
St. V's is beatable. They are beatable.
But doesn't that do almost a refresh, and everybody takes a deep breath and exhales whenever St. V's is eliminated?
Yeah.
There's teams like that in every bracket.
I'd be interested. Like, I don't know, like, the target that could be put on the team that beat St. V's back. Because you figured St. V's has the target. If Cheney goes out and beats them, how big of a target now is on them?
Well, Mike just said, as much as he loves Louisville, Cheney has the better shot at St. V's.
I agree. 100% agree.
But with Louisville winning and we saw what they were able to do to Howland.
Mm-hmm.
And Howland made a nice push at the latter part of that game, where if that game goes another 2 minutes, who knows what happens? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Howland was making that push. If Aljancic gets hot, though,
I don't think it's enough.
Really?
Against St. V's, I don't think it's enough.
But they don't.
They play
St. V's.
Cheney plays St. V's. Louisville plays Cleveland Glenville.
Okay.
Correct.
What are the chances for the Leopards to beat Glenville?
Like you said, if Aljancic gets hot, there's a good chance.
But you like it better there than you would against St. V's.
Absolutely.
So right now, Louisville's kind of, I don't want to say playing with house money, but they've got the path
Mhm.
that they need to go. They need Cheney to do their job. But then if you get Cheney versus Louisville, think
like
how
Cheney.
unbelievable that game's going to be.
I like Cheney in that too.
Sure. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But Louisville's played the underdog card all
Oh,
season.
absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
why I think they're well versed for this game.
Mhm.
I think that'll be one of the best games all season. I think
I could see that.
I mean, you know what the state wants. The state
Yeah.
wants Glenville versus St. V's.
Oh yeah.
We want
100%.
Louisville versus Cheney. But, to Mike's point here, he says Cheney has the better shot at St. V. They've
Mhm.
seen St. V more.
Style of play.
Well, remember, was it 2 years ago when they claimed their championship because
Yes. I believe it was 2 years
and they were
because
going to
didn't
play
St.
St. V's.
Yeah.
So now they can go get their regional bid
Mhm.
and make their trip to Columbus. Hopefully, if they beat St. V's, if they beat St. V's, if Cheney beats St. V's, do you think they can take it all the way?
I'm just gonna keep going with it. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so St. V's is out of the equation. Who beats
Who's up
Cheney?
next? I could see Archbishop Alter making a run at it. I could see Roger Bacon definitely making a run at it. Roger Bacon's one of those teams. I think that was the school that beat LeBron when he was at St. V's. So they've been there.
Well, Lisbon almost beat LeBron at St. V's.
We were up 2-0.
That's what I'm saying.
We were up 2-0.
And then we called the timeout. Got
Absolutely.
the picture.
Toledo Central Catholic, maybe. I would say Roger Bacon and Alter have the best shot, and that's the state semi. If Cheney can beat St. V's and beat one of those two, then yeah, I think they have a good shot of winning it.
What's the best case scenario for Louisville? If
Louisville?
if you're Coach Siegfried,
Beat
you look at this.
Cheney to beat St. V's.
You beat
and
Cheney.
You beat Cheney, and then hope that Lyndon McKinley beats Alter, Woodward beats Roger Bacon. Then
So just staying away from the top seeds.
stay away from those three.
Okay.
Stay away from St. V's, Roger Bacon, and Alter.
Who has the better chance, Louisville or Cheney, against those top seeds?
Cheney,
Cheney.
100%.
Athletic?
Yep.
Okay.
Athletic, pace, experience to an extent. Just, I think at that point, Cheney's my pick for those two.
Who has more to prove between those two teams?
Cheney.
Why is that?
They've been expected to be there.
Okay.
Got to show out. Louisville, I don't think anybody really expected. Maybe
playing with house money.
outside of the Louisville community, I don't think anybody really expected Louisville to be where they're at right now.
Well, Louisville, for some reason, we talk about JFK always being unknown.
Mhm.
People forget about Louisville.
Oh yeah,
Because
it's
they're
because
not
of
in
where
the
they're
conference.
at. They're not in Northeast Ohio, I guess technically, to an extent, like of what you would expect Northeast Ohio to be. And Cheney's been there. Cheney's been there for the past 3 years. They've been that team that's either said that they've been state champions or whatever,
Yeah.
because they didn't play St. V's, or they were at a chance where they should have been at this far.
Nikki C says the best chance for Louisville is for Aljancic to go absolutely ballistic.
You tell me Aljancic's going to average 50 for the next 3 games, and I'm going to tell you they're state champions.
Do you think that's out of the question?
Yes.
Interesting. So you think they're just going to try to shut down Aljancic?
Yeah.
What's crazy is that St. V's beat St. Ed's, who is a 1 seed in Division 1 in the regionals.
Mhm.
Why is St. V? Is it just because of the LeBron factor?
I mean, that's why people know them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, I know St. V's a little bit more than that
Okay.
because I know they're coached really well. I know they have talent that is more than just their best player. And, I mean, yeah, it's the stigma of LeBron.
I just
But at the same point, like, they back it up. St. V's does back it up. They don't just say, oh, yeah, LeBron went here,
If
and
you
then they
put-
go win 12 games.
if
Like,
you put St.
they
V's
win.
in a close game, can they finish if
Yeah.
their back's
I
up
think they
against the
could.
wall?
I think they could.
Like if Cheney has them in a 75-75 game in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left.
I like St. V's in that.
Really?
Because then I like the way that Coach Drew knows basketball.
I'm taking Cheney.
I mean, Coach Drew's probably forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know in my lifetime. But I like the way he is. Like he's just calm, collected every time.
I'm excited for Jamie and Romo to call
Absolutely.
this game. I don't know. Romo at least got to call this game earlier this season.
I believe so, yeah.
So,
I think Jamie had to work or something.
Yeah, so it's going to be exciting for those two. And the excitement level, as long as it's close, even if it's not, the thing that Jamie and Romo do very well is they keep you attracted to the game.
Oh, they just have fun.
They'll just start talking about the other players, and they get excited for the other players. This is going to be a game to watch, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a game to watch. I can't wait for it. Really, really excited for it. Nikki says, asking if St. V's can close a game is like asking if Tom Brady can lead a game-winning drive. I guess, but you know what I mean? Like, there's different pressures.
Like, yeah, but like at the same point, St. V's is always there. Like,
they're always
just
there. But you know what I mean? Like everybody starts rooting for Tom Brady to fail.
Yeah.
In those game-winning drives.
Yeah, I could see that.
At what point do people start going, okay, I can't wait for St. V's to lose these game-winning drives to a team like Cheney, to a team, it's interesting to me. And that's why I think it's fun. This is why we love sports, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
What do we got here? A couple minutes till we got to take a break. Louisville, when you talked about Louisville, you like where they're at right now.
I like where they're at a lot more than I like Cheney because they're not staring down St. V's.
You love St. V's.
They're good. I like good basketball. That's why I like Cheney. I love Cheney.
Like you love Hoban and football.
Because they're good. I like greatness. I hate Tom Brady with a burning passion, but I love watching him play because he's good.
Leave.
Because he's good. Like it's just they're good. They're good.
Mikey says Drew Joyce is probably the best coach in Ohio. Just watched More Than a Game documentary about LeBron's high school team. Great document. It is a great doc. I haven't watched that in years.
Mm-hmm.
Years. I'm going to have to look that one up again. I mean, Cheney is going to be the underdog in this game. There's no doubt about it. But in that locker room, do you have to believe you're the underdog? Or do you go out and say, we feel disrespected because nobody's talking about us. Everybody's talking about St. V's.
I would say respect your opponent. Whatever you want to stir up in
your
own locker room, go ahead. Like,
ever.
listen, you could stir up whatever you want in your own locker room. Respect St. V's.
Well, you have to respect
because they'll punch you in the mouth if you don't.
Not literally, hopefully.
Not literally, but they'll come out. They'll beat you by 20 if you don't respect it.
Well, they did in the first matchup.
But
it's tied at halftime. So
true.
So what do you do if you're?
I don't know what happened. I don't know if they got.
Coach McGaughey, do you look at that second half footage and go, okay, where did we go wrong here?
I would. I'd be studying it. I mean, you know that you're going to play one of the top 5 players in the state. You need to account for him. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. He's a 27th best player in the country for his position. So, like, you know that he's going to go and play with good basketball. I would make sure that I monitor what he does. Do everything I can. I don't know if that's funneling him down to Clive in the post. I don't know. I really don't know because I've never had to worry about going against a kid that good.
What about strategy if you're Cheney? Is it everybody's got to score 20 or one guy's got to score 40?
To win?
Yeah.
I would want everybody to chip in.
Well, of course you want everybody to chip in.
Like mass attack on it. Get as much as you can out of everybody and weather the storm from them.
Can St. V's stop Clive Wilson if he wants to have that game? And this is off of Mike's message here. Hear me out. Clive Wilson has a day and wills Cheney to a victory. A Cheney win would be monumental for Grit City.
I hope so.
I mean, Clive's what, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, something like that.
And he's a monster of a man.
Yeah.
More known for football than basketball. But if he just decides, listen, if you're 6'8", you decide you're going to have a game, there's not a whole lot of people in that gymnasium that's going to be able to stop you.
Right. I don't know. I really don't know.
DJ Waller's tearing it up right now. We saw he had 20.
Yeah.
And he can elevate. We saw that.
It's yeah. I don't think that they've played somebody like St. V's other than obviously playing St. V's, and the outcome was already set. They lost. I don't think they've ran into that since, and I don't think they will run into it again after.
That's interesting.
It's St. V's is like playing Steubenville football. They have a different aura to them.
But if you beat them,
yeah,
tell me that you don't feel like the talk of the walk there.
Absolutely.
You know?
But you got to remember then, like, you got another game in 2-3 days. Like, live in the moment, but you're playing somebody else the next day.
Nick says, get Sincere Harris in foul trouble, and that game changes immensely.
It does. But he doesn't get into foul trouble often.
Yes, Clive's going to BC for football.
Correct.
Yeah. Mike's asking. I mean, he's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding player. Can take over a game at any time. We haven't seen it lately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've seen it a couple times throughout the season.
Had to really lately, though, either.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But DJ Waller's been cranking it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you look at this Cheney team looks completely different. And obviously there's a lot that goes into this next sentence. This Cheney team looks completely different now than they were at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just figuring out their chemistry at the right time. Problematic because here comes St. V's,
right.
But opportunistic because here comes St. V's.
Mm-hmm.
If you can beat St. V's, this is your moment. This is your time. You can go back 2 years ago when they pulled you off the court and said you're not playing. And what was that, the regionals?
Yeah, semis, I think.
And
or no, it was regional finals.
Yeah, so you can go back and say, we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That asterisk that we say state championship because nobody beat us to tell us different. Now it's got some credibility.
That's kind of where I'm at still. I'm still worked up by that game. I was excited for that game and didn't happen. I'm still on that mindset because St. V's 3 years ago was a different animal too. They had obviously Sincere, but they had Malachi Branham too.
Yeah.
So it was a whole different world. And Cheney had different athletes then too.
But let's you called out St. V's was going to win that game.
Nope. And I'm telling you now, St. V's is going to win this one.
Okay. And I respect that. But I like the underdog. I'm the underdog guy, right? American underdog. I'm
I don't
talking
want
it up.
Think I don't want Cheney to win.
No.
I want them to win.
But you want to be right more than anything. I could care less about being right. You're all about being right.
Absolutely.
You're all about being, okay, I don't care who I offend. I'm just going to be right. Because then if you're right, what can people say?
Yeah.
They can make fun of you, but what does that do? But if you're right, you're right.
Make fun of me. I don't care.
And
whatever.
I'm going to be right because Cheney's going to win this game.
Okay.
I hope. Come on, Cheney.
I hope so too, but I don't think so.
I believe in our boys. I think that they've heard enough about St. V's. I think that they're going to crank it up.
That's the thing. Like, prove me wrong. You got to prove me wrong.
What's the number they got to keep St. V's down to?
60.
They keep it 60. They got it. They win.
They got to put up more. Obviously, Cheney's got to be the way that they normally do.
What was it? 77, 57 or something.
67, 57 or something.
67,
over Poland, something like that. I mean, Cheney's got to score in the 70s anyway, but if they hold St. V's to 60, I think they're in a good spot.
Rob Smith, who has an awesome icon of the Steelers, says best team in Ohio is Centerville with Gabe Cups, and the team is insane. Beats St. V's by 10.
Centerville is.
You agree with that?
Legit, yeah. They're good.
Are they the same division?
No, they're
up.
I think they're one. I think it's one.
And it's 1 and 2.
They're just right? Centerville is legitimate. They beat St. V's, I think, by 6 or 7 in the season.
He said 10.
I thought it was 6 or 7. I could be wrong, but they're every bit of legitimate this year.
And
they don't have the length of dominance that St. V has.
And that was Centerville on the road.
Yeah. They're good. They're 100% good. And the kid that he named is a stud.
Cups?
Yeah. He's a stud.
Is he senior?
I believe so.
We got to go watch him then.
Gabe Cups. I think he's a senior.
Got to go watch him.
Senior or junior. But I think he's a senior.
We need to take a break, pay some bills. I need to turn this heater off. If people can, I mean, it's still like 60 degrees out there and it's raining like a monsoon. Get that Storm Tracker 21 app and you won't have to worry about weather surprising you. Like we knew that was coming, because we checked on the Storm Tracker 21 app. When we come back,
He's a junior.
He's
Cups
a
is a
junior.
junior.
I like
And
that.
he is a 3-star at the moment, committed to Indiana.
Hoosier daddy. We're gonna take a break. Don't interrupt me again. I need to pay these bills. When we come back, more basketball talk. We're gonna talk about coaches of the year, players of the year, MVPs, players of the YSN network that you think should be nominated and considered for our year-end awards in hoops. All that and more when the YSN Power Hour continues right after this.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Monday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ and Quinn with you, talking hoops. When we talked about that Cups kid during the break, what's he averaging?
15.2 and 7.2 assists.
He's a 6'2", 160.
Yep.
And he's just a junior.
Yep.
Wow. And he's going to go to Indiana. Incredible. Nikki says you'll see Cups playing for Indiana. You'll see him playing, actually playing, not just going, playing.
Yeah. That's
exciting stuff. Got to see this kid in person, man. All right. So we just handed out the Big Dogs of the Valley Awards, the girls basketball player, the boys basketball player, and of course the wrestler. And now we start marching towards the beat of the, I don't want to say the actual, but like our awards, the awards that we actually choose, the ones that we are probably going to get yelled at for naturally, but don't involve necessarily a fan vote. It's not a popularity contest. It's what we think you did during the season. So there are 5 different awards. Let's name them off here, Quinn. It's the Coach of the Year for boys and girls, the MVP, Most Valuable Player. Now, when you and I talk about this, it is the most valuable player to their team in the aspect of them winning and losing basketball games. So it could be someone that doesn't score 50 a night. Yeah. It could be someone that doesn't even score 10 a night, but they are the most valuable piece of that component. That is an MVP in our perspective. Offensive Player of the Year. Then you're talking about scoring, right? Mm-hmm. It's just straight up scoring, can score buckets, however many, whenever they need it. And then Defensive Player of the Year. Well, there's a lot of things that go into that. Blocks and steals and all that stuff, rebounds. And then you have the 6th man or 6th woman of the year. This, to me, that's my favorite award because it goes to someone who is just a contributor, not necessarily the starting lineup, obviously, but someone that comes in off the bench and makes a huge difference for their team. So all that being said, we get to talk through all of that. Rob Smith says Camel's coach should be up for coach of the year. Did a great job developing the talent he has. I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick Cannarino did a phenomenal job this year developing that talent, and now it's paying off for him. Especially, we didn't even get to talk about that game yet. You look at Camel.
I'll argue it just because I like arguing.
Okay.
So
you're allowed to argue. So let's talk about Nick Cannarino. What has he done this year that makes him stand out for the rest? Obviously, Camel's season, number one, first and foremost, and now they've got 20 straight wins. You look at that, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. And I mean, that's tongue in cheek, obviously.
Won the conference, won the district.
And that's a pretty tough conference, pretty tough district. So when you look at Coach Cannarino, he should be at least in the conversation of Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the I don't want to say the shortcomings, but what do you think is working against him? Again, to me, I'll start if you don't mind. I think it's everybody else around him. There are especially in the boys division, there's so many different coaches that should be being in that same conversation. You look at Coach Siegfried at Louisville. I mean, what he's done with that team, a young team nonetheless. Best players are a junior and a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible. You look at Josh Scott, what he's done. First ever win in tournament history for Heartland Christian. You look at Josh Upshire, loading up down there, doing great things with injuries all season. You look at Jeff Brink, first year back, one loss in regular season, obviously losing to Carter Mooney. That's phenomenal for a first-year coach. Eric Fender at Poland. You know, what he's done in the shadows of Ken Grisdale, walking in and picking up exactly where Coach Grisdale left off. Who else should be in this conversation, Quinn?
To me, I would say Coach Palermo at Mooney. Just
agreed.
Getting them to a regional semifinal game right now. And I mean, I'll say it. If he wins on Wednesday, he'll beat Cannarino and he'll beat Jeff Brink. In my mind, that's a pretty good case for himself there. But you know, as coaches all say, it's the players. It has nothing to do with them. I like what Coach Palermo does. I like the stuff that he runs. I like the presses that he draws up, defenses. I like how he coaches. He brings energy. I would say he has a very strong vote for me as well.
For 32 minutes, that team brings energy.
Yeah,
they're never down,
mm-hmm.
and they are. I mean, we saw them at Christmas time with that tournament, and we obviously they caught our attention when they won that Salem tournament. But from then on, that was one of my favorite teams to watch because defense was just constant.
Yeah,
constant. They didn't take plays off on defense. Where most teams, that's kind of where they catch their breath.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Smith wants to know what team from the Ysn family has the best chance to make it to state?
Cheney.
It's fair.
I would say Cheney. I would say Camel's a close second.
Okay.
Although Mooney has opened my eyes a little bit more recently. I think Camel has a good chance at it too. Based on the way the brackets all lay out, I would give my favorite to Camel, but I still think Cheney is more capable of doing it because they've been there a lot more than Camel, Mooney. Like they've been there. They have that experience that is pretty important at this point in the playoffs.
Here's why I'm going to lean towards Mooney. And you and I kind of had this conversation off the record earlier. I like teams that don't necessarily have to have the bucket go in, the basket go in, right? Yeah. Mooney can beat you without scoring a whole lot of points, and they've proven it this year, similar to Salem girls team. Coach Palermo has that when they shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're tough to beat.
Yeah.
They're tough to beat.
I mean, when they beat Liberty, there were some eyebrows raised, not only outside, but inside of YSN headquarters here. We were like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And Coach Palermo will tell you, if we can shoot, we're tough to stop. So that's why I like Mooney. Not that I don't like anybody else. I like Mooney because you got to beat them. You have to beat them. It doesn't just you've got to get past the press. Then you've got to go score. And you got to figure out, are they going to be on tonight or are we going to be hard pressed? So I like Mooney in that situation to go. Good question, Rob. Thanks for the drop in. Nikki C says that Camel team can definitely win state. and it's mostly due to Cannarino's direction. That is high praise for Nick Cannarino. Anthony Hartwig says, shout out to Coach Pisano from Jefferson. Got that team a share of the NE8, first NE8 championship for Jefferson in anything. And now they're on their way out. So
we're into Camel.
See ya. Win and championship forever, right? It's like whenever you're on the sticks and you're saying retire as champion, you toss the sticks. Okay, we got our boy. Some of the names that are in there. Obviously, I think there's more as Anthony kind of chimes in from a girls' perspective. Girls basketball coach of the year, names that we could and should recognize for candidates for coach of the year. Obviously, you look at Waterloo has to be in there. Salem has to be in there. West Branch always in there. What other? I mean, Garfield had a whale of a year.
Yeah.
What other teams? I'm looking at the wall.
Trying to think of some off the top of my head. I mean, Coach Matisse at Springfield took them to a regional semifinals appearance.
This is going to be an off the wall one, and this isn't just.
Is it because you're literally looking at the wall?
Well, I see what you did there. Ryan Snyder at Lisbon, especially down the stretch. I was very impressed with what Ryan did with his team. It's a young team. They were learning the entire time. And Ryan, I thought, did a great job of kind of figuring things out, solving that puzzle towards the end. Another team I was very excited. Jeff Wilson at Austintown Fitch had triple the amount of wins, I think, as the last 2 years combined, and really showing up at Austintown Fitch at a time where he needed to be. They needed him, and he needed them. And Coach Wilson, he really is underway of construction of turning that program around to where it used to be. So hats off to him on that one. Looking at the wall,
there's just a lot of good coaches. Like
Jackson Milton.
I hate picking one.
It's
there's
tough.
A lot of good coaches.
It's tough, and that's the thing. Like people will focus more on what the one coach that wins as opposed to being happy for everybody. Like this is an opinion of many of our people at YSN that go into this, but there is so much talent. That's why it's tough for us to do this. And that's why you celebrate a coach of the year or player of the year, because look at all the other players that deserve it as much as you do, or you might. Sarah Hamilton, no debate. I'm not debating that, but I also look at that and I go, well, you've got Waterloo that won 20 games in a row. How do you take away from that? If it can't just be who went the furthest. Yeah. It has to be who put in the body of work and showed up night in and night night out the entirety of the year. And you look at some of these things and you go, okay, well, injuries hurt them here. That happened in Waterloo. You look at Springfield. They had a tough ride. The entire West Branch had a tough ride. They did what Salem couldn't. They beat Marlington, but Salem beat West Branch twice, which hasn't been done since 2004. The whole thing's, you look at Josh Sigler. You said it earlier. In the UAC, can't take anything away from him. Poland.
Yeah, Coach Blanche.
How is Blanche? He's always in the conversation. You can't keep him out. Even when he loses players.
Yep.
They lost Jackie Grisdale. Oh, Poland's done. They're done. They're going to be fourth in the conference. Oh, no. Au contraire, mon frère.
Yeah.
They're right there. So many good teams. So many good teams. And I would make an argument for Will Franklin as well.
Good.
Tough year. Had all of his starters out. They're gone. All 5 of them. See you later. And, tough year. But at the end, starts putting together some games with some freshmen, some girls who never played basketball before, in winning games. That's, to me, it's less about record and more about what you did from a body of work.
See that?
And yes,
Coach Watson.
Coach Watson from Liberty. Yep. Anthony said it.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
That's the one that
young team.
It's a huge argument there.
Regional semis.
Yep.
Coach Gilbert at Garfield did the same concept. Regional semis.
We got another vote for Sarah Hamilton. She did a great job second year at the helm.
There's just a lot of good coaches.
Yeah. It's tough. I know it stinks. And people will argue we don't need to give awards out. I'm not going to hide from giving out people that deserve it. Unfortunately, we're not a participation trophy and we can't give out 50 awards, but we want to honor those who did, do really well and exceptional this year. All right, let's go MVP. We're not even a fifth away. You got to run through here. MVPs. Let's go girls first.
Girls first. I would put my vote into Jenna Smith from Garfield.
Okay.
I mean, stat-wise, she's got the
Fills it
stats
up.
to back it up. I mean, points per game, rebounds, like she was, I think, a 20 and 12
Yeah.
average all year. Took them to the regional semis. It's a pretty good career,
Don't
or
disagree.
season, or whatever you want to call it. So
Sophie Gregory, West Branch.
yeah,
That's a name that you're gonna. She's only a sophomore, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a name you're gonna hear for 2 more years. And you look at that and you go, I was told that she is the best player, one of the best players in the state of Ohio. I can't disagree with her. I cannot disagree with that. And one of the things that I look at is she can take over a game.
Mm-hmm.
And when she is ISO'd, West Branch had some problems.
Yeah.
They had some issues. So when you look at most valuable player, that's what you look at for me. And I'm not saying that she's necessarily going to win the award, but that's the kind of player that I look at and go, wow, if she's out of the lineup, it's tough for them to tread water some nights. And that's why she was so important. But she's also a product of that system.
Yep.
And she's a very good player. So she's going to be fun to watch over the next couple of years. Mackenzie Riccatelli.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if she's not in that lineup, that they have as many wins as they did. She is a valuable player to that team, super valuable player to that team. So she's another one that gets my vote, can change the game, both ends of the court. Who else do you have? Lexi Giles?
Off the top of my head, Lexi's on that list. MVP wise, probably Zeta Creaky. I don't think
Great
Fitch is
pick.
anywhere without her either.
Great pick.
Trying to think.
Who's I can never get her name right. Edison.
I should know this. She played in our
Feder-
AU system.
Frederski?
Alicia
Fedorzik. Unbelievable.
Put me on the spot.
I'm on the spot too.
Mhm.
I'm there with you. We're human, right?
Yeah.
We got 53 teams. That's how it goes. Kylie Wilson, Anthony's saying Kylie Wilson from Milton, 100% needs to be in that conversation. Can't disagree with that at all. Sehan Dede at Girard, she was a game changer. Alyssa Dill at Canfield, and she's on Canfield too. 12.
It's not Abby McElroy, is it?
No,
Summer Samarone?
Yeah, Samarone.
I'm trying to think. I haven't seen Canfield in a while.
Ava Howell,
Mm.
JC Mullen, Devin Regai, I think would be look at Tori Long from Columbiana. Just so many. And it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter about your wins. Connie Kugris at Poland. You look at, MVPs, most valuable player to your team. If that player is out, that team does not function.
Yeah.
I think we named a bunch there. And it's tough for a team like Salem because you're probably more apt to get a 6-man or 6-woman of the year award because of the style of play. Because it's not always about the 5 starters. All right, boys, MVP.
Berdovich, 100%.
Johnny Berdovich.
In my mind, it's
who, by the way,
John
congratulations, Johnny Buckets, who announcing today going to Geneva. So Geneva's putting together a nice program down the street from here, YSN.
I would say him.
Nick Million.
Ross Tito from Poland.
Clive
I would
Wilson.
give him Clive. I'm trying to think.
Terrence Pankey.
Yeah, Terrence.
Kevin Moore
Mm-hmm.
at Campbell.
I'd give Kevin the offensive. That's where I was.
I think that's where
thinking
he's
Kevin
at
was
too.
Offensive in my mind.
How about Springfield? You had to pick one of the 3-headed monster there. Who's most valuable? That's tough.
I would say Bo's most valuable. I would say Wary would be most offensive, prolific. I would say Rothwell would be defensive.
We're getting some Ross Dito. We got some Anthony Masucci's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an MVP right there.
Al Jancic.
Oh, that's a good.
He's
pick
more
too.
offensive in my mind, though.
I think so. Well, he can get it on both ends of the court.
Yeah,
and he does.
He's more prolific scoring wise.
Mick Hergenrother is one that Mikey Janaki's putting in. Kevin Moore of Camel. Yeah, again, Mike, I think he's an offensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think Camel can still function without him, and still win games. But I think
tougher without him.
It'd be a lot tougher.
I mean, you're losing a lot of points on that, but I think so too.
But Berdovich is the one that stands out to my. I mean, if he's out of that game, Heartland's they're hard pressed.
Yeah,
right. I don't think it's any secret to anybody from that standpoint. Boardman with Trey DePietro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to talk about going Jackson Hendershot? There's a great call by Anthony Hartwig over at West Branch. That's a lot of names.
Trying to think of who else. Jack Lendeck.
Oh,
I'd go Jack
over Badger. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody knows it better than you.
Yeah.
Jake Gerdick from Canfield. That's. Listen, Big G. He can get it done offensively, but he is a threat in the paint. Like, you got to get past him, and it's a Wizard of Oz situation where you shall not pass. Interesting. All right, let's skip over offensive. Let's go to defensive. Who do you have in there for defensive? I'm gonna nominate somebody.
Boys or girls?
Let's go girls first.
Okay.
I'm going Cammie Rome. You don't get the nickname Swatzilla by being someone that lets people pass in the free lay. I'm gonna go Swatzilla with that.
I've got two off the top of my head.
Okay.
Ava Darney from Jackson Milton.
Okay.
Big presence, good rebounder, good blocker. And then this one might surprise you a little bit. Laverne Gaskins from Crestview.
That's unsurprising.
Only a freshman.
Did she not break the record?
13 rebounds a game, basically, and broke the record for blocks. Averaged, I think, 4, maybe 5 blocks a game.
Yeah.
As a freshman, also.
That's ridiculous.
She's my vote, personally.
It's not a bad choice. You look at the other side of that. I mean, defense. I know I already said her name, Mackenzie Riccatelli.
Yeah.
Every game that I saw her, she had like 7 steals.
Yeah.
And she's not what we are.
No.
I shouldn't say no. You are. You are an average, above average size human being.
Zero defense from me, though.
But she's smaller than I am, and she's out rebounding people that are taller than you.
Mm-hmm.
That,
she's
to me,
very good at boxing out, understanding positions. She reads the ball off the rim so well.
Abby Farber from Poland. I think that's a great call. A great call. I'll sound like a homer, but since DJ went Salem, I'll put Abby Farber in from Poland. 77 steals by far the most in the NE8. How can you disagree with that?
No.
I mean, the next person, I think 50, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of names in there, and I'm not saying that anybody, one of those names is going to get it, but it's hard to argue against it.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, who you got?
I mean, if we're going homer route, then I'm going to go Alex Rothwell from Springfield.
Sure.
Averaged 12 rebounds a game, averaged almost 3, maybe 3.5 blocks a game, something like that. Like just maybe 6'7". So like, I don't know, cheating a little bit, I guess, being that big.
Cheat code.
But yeah, I'll get. He's got my vote. Defensively was an anchor for Springfield a lot of times in the post. So I'm going him.
I really enjoy the defensive player of the year. This one is well, here's a spoiler. Underrated one, Mick Hergenrother. How do we sit there and we talk about Cardinal Mooney, but we don't add Cardinal Mooney defense into defensive player of the year? Hergenrother,
I mean,
agitator.
I only saw him play once though, and he got 3 reaching fouls in 3 minutes. So like, to me, that's no goat for me. But no, it's all of Mooney plays defense like they all did. He was the anchor for sure, and he created a lot of problems this year.
Nicky C is going the complete homer route today because he's saying Drew Weir, big blocker of shots. He is the emperor of elevation, not the blocker of shots, the eater of worlds. Listen, every time I turned around, the dude was on another highlight for a dunk.
Yeah.
And not that he doesn't play defense, but I think when you talk about Drew Weir, You talk about his
dunking on
offense.
balls. Yeah.
You talk about his offense, and because he can shoot the ball wherever he wants on the court, but he can also have some of the most highlight dunks we've seen in this area. Outside of Badger, that dunk was still the best dunk I've ever seen.
Some
in
of
a high school game.
what he threw down from Badger was nuts.
Sick.
Burnett was
Sick
nuts.
nasty.
Yeah.
He had a
I
broken
just like
arm.
to watch it. I just like watching him dunk.
Sure.
It was fun.
Here's a good call. Drew DeShields. You want to talk about a guy that plays the entirety of the court. Drew DeShields is that guy. Ronnie Leonard at Struthers, not a bad pick from that standpoint. Anthony, all over our show today. You have your own show, Ant. You have your own show. It's literally 2 hours long. But we appreciate you contributing. Okay, now my favorite. 6-man, 6-woman. This is tough. Jenna McClish is my pick.
I couldn't even begin to guess on some of this because there's a lot of good talent that comes off the bench that helps and provides sparks that are unreal in different aspects of the game.
The way Jenna McClish plays the game. Now she's probably 4'9", 4'10", something like that. She's little.
Yeah.
But she plays with so much heart, so much passion, and she is not afraid to get in amongst the trees to do that. And she is okay with coming off the bench. She is, as long as everybody's playing at 100%, she is fine coming off the bench because she's going to match that intensity. I've been a McClish fan since the year started, and just seeing what she does, how she does it, always like Hines Ward-esque, always smiling, and it agitates people even more. So
Pittsburgh,
I like McClish in that. You look at, there's so many that can come off the bench. I like Cece Foster in East Palestine to be able to come off the bench. She's able to do things and give a little bit of extra motivation to her team. And obviously they didn't have the season they wanted to, but that's not what it's about. It's about the effort and the actions you put forth.
6-man's tough for high school for me because sometimes you could play your way into the rotation and you become starters and stuff. And
it's not
the balance of it and things that happen and stuff like that.
These smaller teams too don't always have 6 players. You know what I mean? Palestine had a tough time at the beginning. They had 5 and they were going with 5.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have a 6-woman or 6-man when you only have 5. Trying to think. There's a few of them out there. This is going to be, to me, this is going to be the hardest one to pick.
Yeah.
Because there's not as many, and you have to look at the body of work. You have to look at, okay, what makes them the sixth person? Here's a good one. Alex Eusebio and Angel Thomas. Eusebio in Columbiana.
Yeah.
But I think he
started a little bit,
but he was able to get onto the starting lineup, was he not?
Yeah, he started a couple games, I think, this year.
So
he's a good player.
Still qualifies.
He's a good player.
He's a very good player. He's fun to watch.
He did it all. He was a good player.
Okay, so we got our work cut out for him, my friend. Cut out for us, I guess. Here at YSN. Let's go to, you know what time it is? It's time to wrap up the show, which means there's only one thing to do. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends at Joe Dickey Electric in North Lima, Ohio, and of course at DickeyElectric.com. Joe Dickey Electric, proudly powering the Mahoning Valley for over 60 years. Mr. Pushkar.
It's a positive spark. The show started with baseball, quickly deterred that into basketball, so it was a great day there. And the show's over, so it's time to go eat. Great time for me.
We're going to go eat. Where do you want to eat? Who do we need to warn that we're going to eat?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Path.
Nick says we would have eaten earlier.
Yeah.
Had we not had the 2-hour meeting.
Legendary Rick Shepis.
Don't call him a legend. I made that mistake. Nick says, sorry for being a big homer, but Ross Davidson, that's a good pick. That Salem team was way different when he was on the floor. I do not disagree. 1 iota. And a spark for Quinn for being real. I like that. You want to know what real is? You want to know what real is, Quinn? I've been waiting to break this baby out. Oh, this is real, right here. Look at that. Look at that. Just put it on for him. Show him out. Ladies and gentlemen, check that guy out. The Your Sports Network YSN Champion of Change belt has arrived. Now, I will say this. We ordered this special, and then we got it sponsored. So, naturally, Quinn, what do we have to do? We have to get another belt. So, we will have this, and we will start doing the YSN Champions of Change this coming month at the end of March. We are taking your nominations right now. We'll roll it out for you. Similar to Big Dogs, but completely different in that the Champion of Change belt will be worn by people who impact and influence student athletes in any different way. It can be a parent. It can be a brother, a sister, cousin. It can be a teacher. It can be someone in the community. It can be whatever it is. We just want to reward them for being a champion of change, for impacting some of our student athletes in a positive way to keep them on the floor, to keep them on the turf, the grass, the diamond, whatever it may be. We want to celebrate those people with the YSN Champions of Change presented by Envelope One. Thanks to Travis Pigeon and Maddie for all the great hard work and believing in this program. This is something that's been near and dear to my heart for a long time. I've wanted to do this for a very long time. I'm excited for the inaugural champion to be crowned, and we're going to try to do it once a month, depending on nominations, obviously. But this is something I've wanted to do, and I'm excited for. So thanks for all the nominations already. We're looking forward to looking into these a little bit deeper, and you can get your nominations in on our social media page, as well as info, that's INFO, at ysnlive.com, or just email me or Quinn, and we will take care of it and try to get these nominations sorted out. So be ready. Get your nominations ready for the YSN Champions of Change presented by Envelope One, coming very soon. Final Spark to YSN for all the great coverage. I live in South Carolina, and I can't see my grandson play, but with YSN, I can. Well, Rob, it's absolutely our pleasure. And as always, we so much thank you for the support. These awesome words and kind words that you guys always have for us keep us going. We show it to our announcers, we show it to our people, and most importantly, it warms the subcockles of our heart, Quinn. But that's going to do it for our show today. Thank you all for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Have a great Monday. We'll see you Tuesday, 3 to 4, right here on your Sports Network. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of